Hello, friends and relatives. Welcome to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, I scurry in here. 4 o'clock, I hit the live button, mile 401. And we talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis. We're going to kind of sit around North Dakota and Minnesota because Minnesota and North Dakota cannabis news kind of creeped up on me. And I forgot the legislative sessions would indicate news that would be pertinent to cannabis legalization and to you, the cannabis approver. Is that a word? Cannabis approver. Right before me, side stage with Trav, 1 to 3. And then me, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, 4 o'clock. After me, 5 to 7, Stinky Arts Music Mart. Then a couple hours with my boy Fred, spelled with a P. He's the automated AI that handles stuff when humans can't be in here. And then we got Black Ring Ritual. Wraps up your Thursday. And don't forget the other days, because those days also have stuff on the best radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. KRFF 95.9 LPFM, RadioFreeFargo.org, streaming everywhere on this blue and green marble we inhabit. You, too, my friend, can listen to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, discussing cannabis legalization, and I cover the week in weed, I say. You know, I don't like to say that because I think it's a jive negative term. And it makes me sound like, you know, one of them hippies. But anyway, I just lost my train of thought. But anyway, we talk about cannabis. We're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news at 4:20. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, blackcottagealchemy.com. Black Cottage Alchemy also has products at Tochi downtown here. The body butter is the business. It's great stuff. It's got 1,600 mgs of CBD of locally grown hemp. And I can assure you it's high quality. I happen to know who produces it. And so and she's been on the show. So check that out. And again, it's for everything. It's good to just have. Colloidal silver is also offered. Again, thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, medically, agriculturally. I just, the Bible says seed-bearing plants. And I can't think of one more seed-bearing than cannabis. And the thing that always gets me is there's a male plant and a female plant. Just kind of like how God had planned it in creation. You know, there was for procreation, you needed one thing and the other thing. You know, and some weeds, they ain't got that. They just out there messing your garden up. You know? And the female's purty. And the male's kind of lanky and may provide the more sativa effect, which, it's probably, I don't know, maybe that's what they're using a lot of that hemp-derived stuff from, you know what I mean? But anyway, stick with me. Oh, I forgot that I worship said creator who made cannabis to use as we see fit every Sunday, Antioch Church, 11 a.m., 417 Marion Avenue. I'm on stick duty, and it's some jams, so... And you're like, oh, have you had jams? I don't know. I'm getting pretty Bono. No, Bonham. Not to be confused with bottom, folks. All right. But anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson in the house, ready to talk about cannabis legalization. I think we're going to play the first song, and the first song's interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard of the 30-day push-up challenge where you listen to this particular song and you do what it says. And I didn't realize it was a song by Moby. And we're going to listen to it now. Now, if you want to, see, I was going to do it live on the air and do this push-up challenge. It's 30 push-ups, and it's crazy. I mean, it's nutty. And so I'm on day 5 or whatever. And so if you'd like, during this song, do what it says, get your workout on, and then we'll come back. Here's Flower, Moby, KRFF.
Green salad up, a green salad down.
Man, I'm telling you, when I first started, and I still haven't made more than like 2.5 minutes into that 3.5 minutes, it's brutal. I mean, it's crazy, and I do push-ups all day long, and that thing is a beast. You're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis health-wise, and just the general overall cannabis news and views. Here on KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org is streaming everywhere. Thank you for joining me. I just wanted to say, I wanted to shine some light and welcome a new show Wednesday mornings, 8 to 9, I believe. F5 project focuses on recovery, and Adam's always been somebody I've followed and watched him do cool stuff with the people that come out of prison in that interim period, and that can be scary. And I also believe, like him and I's cannabis, theories are similar, in that space, and it isn't always a popular one to say that there's any room for cannabis in recovery, and especially, for me, medicinally, you take that away. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a natural supplement, I would put it up with an adaptogen, to be honest. And anyway, shout out F5 Recovery Project, Adam and Pretty Ricky, Wednesdays, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. They talk about recovery and just cool stuff in regards to, just the strength and tenacity it takes to stay sober. It's a beast. I'm pushing, let's see, I think it'll be 2 years in August. So not that many people, but by the grace of God and my just inability to live in hell in my mind, I'm telling you, it's been quite the journey. It's quite the journey. But anyway, again, shout out F5 Recovery Project. Welcome to the team here at KRFF. And at 420, we're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And now I'm just going to kind of riff and rap a bit, because I got until 4:15 to play the music. You know what I mean, Jane? But first of all, let's talk about programming on 95.9. Radio Free Fargo, KRFF LP is being underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments, hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have full service for drummers, including repair, custom building, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located at Highway 10 East Mall in Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5, Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check drummersjourney.com. They have a profile on Facebook. Well, huh? They have a profile on Facebook, and I don't. I'm thinking about canceling my Instagram, but man, that's got me like hooked like crack, y'all. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what the communist controlled TikTok will do to your dopamine. Which reminds me, I'm taking 2 cold showers a day lately. I've been really kind of struggling with stuff, and boy, if you're looking to kind of get alert, a natural, legal way to get some norepinephrine, blast your brain with, they say, about 250% dopamine increase. Take an ice cold shower. You'll thank me. You'll thank me in the morning. I'm telling you, they are, when I've got this crazy anxiety and my brain's spiraling and it just won't shut up, I jump in that cold shower, bro. Dude. I mean, it don't take long. I'd say 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, and if you ain't used to it, don't even do that. But anyway, we're going to talk about Minnesota, North Dakota. North Dakota, see, I just wanted to say this, there's bills that affect cannabis and medical cannabis that's happening and being discussed right now. And without the support, a positive support, people, and here's the new thing, you can call in and, and even I think online and submit your testimony and testify for these bills. And the problem is if you don't do it, then the naysayers, the anti-cannabis, certainly medical needs to really, the people need to relax a little bit on the medical and realize that the word medical means medicine. All right. And we got here, our ancestors got us here because of medicine. And a lot of it did not come from an overpriced, arrogant, overbearing doctor who thinks he knows everything. And then gives you some meds that the pharmacy had spun a representative in and took him out to dinner. Right? And now he's pumping you full of it. So, again, North Dakota is discussing, and we'll talk about some measures that are being, or bills that are being discussed related to cannabis in North Dakota. Minnesota is just blowing through the committees. It looks like it's almost going to get a floor vote here pretty soon, and we'll talk about that. What else we got? North Dakota Cannabis Caucus have been kind of making some of these bills regarding cannabis, just kind of like, just kind of getting in there and still doing work. So shout out to North Dakota Cannabis Caucus for that. We'll talk about it. They got a write-up in the Minot Daily News. So, again, we will discuss all of that at 420 Thank you for joining me, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now, I've got Brett. It was crazy. I almost feel like I'm playing like 90s music somehow. And I almost forgot about Dave Matthews Band. But he's back, and they got a brand new album. I got the first cut off it. And so, let's do it. It's interesting. I've listened to it a couple times. I don't know. I used to be a huge Dave Matthews fan, but again, I used to also be a big Acids and Mushrooms fan. So it kind of went hand in hand, and when you take that away, all of a sudden, space music sounds a little different. But this is all right. This is Madman's Eyes, Dave Matthews Band, 95.9. Man, I don't know. Madman's Eyes, Dave Matthews Band, brand new. That, like they say, that was slamming, wasn't it? I mean, it had this kind of like this bally kind of, and then it really cranked. I mean, that drummer, though, he's a beast. You're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson on KRFF 95.9 Radio Free Fargo. We about to 420, where we open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And the irony is I'm on time. And I'm never on time. I've always been a little late with this, And so anyway, you're going to start to hear some music in the background. And that indicates it's time for you. If you got a medical card, get to the freezer, get you some of those frozen cubey things, stick it in a long cylindrical gurgle, friends, and we'll see you on the other side of this. KRFF 95.9.
Hey, it's Phil from Cannaheads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
That's how you do it there, folks. Welcome to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. It's 420-ish. And we're going to talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis. We're going to sit around, Minnesota, North Dakota, because we got stuff going on. I mean, there's stuff being discussed in the legislative sessions right now in the state of North Dakota, friend, that you probably need to be paying attention to. And I was sleeping on it, too, because like I said, I got my own issues at home. I got stuff going down. Which I wanted to just interject this quickly, that for 23 years, I've lived in the Gardner. And I feel like I've been being plagued and I'm dying from like the air quality and molds in that building. So I put in my 2 months notice. So I'm out of there. I don't know where I'm going to go. So if you know any cheap, groovy places on Broadway, holla at your boy. It's got to be Broadway. I mean, maybe off Broadway, just one street, But anyway, I digress. We talk about cannabis here. We're going to talk about North Dakota. Again, we talked about last week about how edibles are completely illegal, and the naysayers have really been pushing to get that voted off of there. The Senate approved it, so I'm not sure how this kind of works. Maybe it could get flubbed in the House. I'm not sure how bills kind of like work like this, so they still got to get to the floor, and then we get to watch them. I think so, maybe. I think so. I think this is just like the early stages of submitting, in this case, medical cannabis legislation. So there's several that's being discussed, and it's the stinking edible one. And that just makes good sense. And it's just hilarious that they're discussing, I was joking, because they say, well, they got to be square and they got to be opaque. And, they can't have any flavors. There can't be anything cool about it, And then I'm thinking, well, no, the people that use it medically don't care what it looks like. It's just all pandering and all kinds of this weird extra jive talk that the legislators like to do, to make themselves feel like they know what they're talking about and doing, and then to assuage their constituents that are, probably plaguing them by calling them at home. I don't know, but it seems silly. But I was joking, like I would take an edible that spelled dare, like if the letters were dare, like if the edible spelled D-A-R-E, I'd eat that. I mean, make them spell dare. You'd be doing your part to discourage cannabis use by, advertising dare. Make the edible spell dare, folks. That's my solution. And so hopefully, basically, I think what you need to do is you need to be calling in your legislators and whatever on these particular bills. And I'm going to discuss a couple, and I think they might have already been voted on. So that's sad, and I feel, again, like I let you guys down. So I'm going to stay more focused on this stupid legislative session. Minnesota is just blazing their way to legalization, and we'll talk about that. But let's just jump to here. Okay, this is from the Minot Daily News. Home grow advocates call for medical cannabis reforms. All right, North Dakota has had a medical cannabis program since it was passed as an initiated measure in 2016. The passage of the bill came as a shock to a lot of people at the time. They didn't expect the measure to pass in this deeply red state. Again, whatever that means. The original measure, which I do want to mention that a Republican has suggested increasing the milligrams of concentrates to 6,000 here in Fargo. I forget her name. I think it might be Aurore's. But shout out to that Republican, huh? That deep red state person is actually helping the medical program, allowing higher, to be able to take home more. So the original measure included language that allowed for unlimited number of compassion centers and even the options for patients to grow their own plants at home if they live more than 60 miles away. So, once all that was done, the North Dakota legislature hammered out a functional code. See, North Dakota legislator did, not the people. And then one that was stripped of some of the libertarian excesses that North Dakotans voted for. So, with the 2023 legislative session blazing ahead, focusing on the word blaze, I'm here, some marijuana activists calling themselves the North Dakota Cannabis Caucus are shrugging off the defeat of last year's failed attempt at rec legalization in favor of reforming the state's current medical cannabis laws, which is smart. Christina Carruthers is a recent transplant to ND who became aware of the NDCC after researching the process to apply for a medical card. She says, I've spoken to quite a few patients. They've noticed that with the limited amount of compassion centers in the state, it leads to higher prices. They're not able to get their meds. One lady she spoke with said there was a specific tincture that her son takes, and one compassion center she can get it at, they refuse to make it. So now at this point, she's got to source it from out of state or come up with some way to get it. And I might add, that's going to be Minnesota real stinking soon. The NDCC, like I said, I'd say by July, Minnesota going to be pushing the medicine. NDCC has drafted a number of proposed bills advocating for the legislature to bring back the option for patients to grow their own and, if need be, further process them to deserve a desired form of consumption. The parent of one such patient is Heather. She's a hemp farmer from Dickey County who first became aware of medical cannabis to help her son. As a baby, he was diagnosed with spasms, leading doctors to believe that he wouldn't live to be 5 and he would be severely handicapped. Things took a particularly hard turn when he turned 8. They locked him in a padded closet in the West Fargo School District. That don't sound good. He was becoming extremely violent and no one understood him. He was basically nonverbal. Every day with cannabis, she saw miracles. They moved to Colorado and they put him on a high dosage of edible THC gummies, which is crazy. Eventually as high as 300 mgs a day, people. That's crazy. And a lot of people say, what, you're giving a kid 300 mgs? I take 50 mgs and you find me hanging upside down in the closet like a marsupial bat. You know what I mean? Like an awesome possum in my closet. But so that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about medicinal applications here. So let me keep reading. So over the next 3 years, the edibles reduced his seizures, helped manage his moods till he went off the treatment when the family moved back to North Dakota after he turned 14. So he came up here this summer. He wasn't allowed to eat them because he's in North Dakota. So he went off, and by the time the end of summer came, he was like, I don't really need it anymore. I paraphrased. He wasn't having seizures, and he figured if he can communicate with me that much, we're not going to go back on him. He's unmedicated now. He's thriving. He's doing fine. But I can tell you this, without the high doses of THC edibles for 3 years, I would have lost my kid, unquote. Now, let that resonate. Let that resonate. We got to stop fooling around. And if it means calling more, I'm not going to call. I hate calling. I have anxiety. But I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding, but maybe I would anyway. So for all the positives that her family had from the experience, returning to North Dakota has driven home what she feels are gaps in the medical program. One issue she pointed to was that edibles were not an option, and you're limited to smoking or vaping flower. So the natural oils and stuff are so unpleasant, it's really hard to get some people to do that every day, especially your child. With edibles, we're just adding a little bit of sugar. It's no different than flavoring amoxicillin or something like that. Shout out this lady. I don't know if it's Granner or Grainer, so I don't want to say it. Another major area of concern and the NDCC is the high cost North Dakota patients face. According to a study from website NugMD, North Dakota averages $384 for 1 ounce of cannabis medically, which comes in as the second highest in the nation behind Washington, D.C. They're neglecting medical in this state, she says. They haven't licensed enough grows for patients to access what they need without home grow. It's impossible. If you can find a person generous to make you the medicine, it's going to cost you $300 a month at a minimum. If you get it from a dispensary, you're going to be $1,200 to $1,500 a month, and that's if you can find it on a regular basis. I was at $1,400 a month buying his meds. Why would you start your patient on a medication that is not going to be there next week when you go to get it because the availability is not there? She was driven to invest in cultivating and processing her own CBD products due to the rising cost of the strains her son required when they lived in Colorado. So she has developed her own in-house hemp press to extract and manufacture CBD. The press is already on a trailer. Half of the developing team figured out a way to make it happen. There's another one that size on the market. Oh, well, that's neat. So, North Dakota legislature is making some moves to fill in some of the gaps. House Bill 1202 was filed in the House seeking to open the door for edibles with tight constraints. Remember the squares or whatever? And a limitation of 500 MIGs. A slew of other bills are proposing changes to reduce the costs and to ease the process for patients age 65 and older to apply for the medical card. While home grow isn't up for consideration, the caucus has been in communication with several legislators about the concept. Mr. Matt Ruby, co-sponsor of House Bill 1202, he said personally he doesn't agree with those fearful of introducing home grow as an option. Opponents point to a potential black market, but that already exists. It's not an easy plant to grow, so I'm told, so I don't think it's something that would be as big an issue as others do. Shout out that dude. So, that is a beautiful kind of thing to tell you about what's going on. Now, this is from Cannabis Moment, and this is interesting. North Dakota House approves resolution encouraging people to buy American flags made of hemp. And I don't want to get off of that quick. I wanted to talk about stinking House Bill 1478. Shout out Gail Peterson for her testimony, and I'm looking at it here. And we're going to kind of peruse it. I hope she doesn't mind. I would think she wouldn't because I'm getting the word out that we both mutually agree on. And I don't know that I'll read it verbatim. But it's basically, what is it? It's self-certification for senior citizens over 65. So that's basically me going to a doctor and going, yo, I certified myself. Give me the cannabis. He goes, well, you're yourself and you certified it. So here you go. And so that's pretty crazy. And I would say advocates really love this one. And they've said it. So it's... so this bill is unusual, she says. I want you to know we are the envy of many state advocates I've spoken with about our veterans provisions, which this bill is aligned with. It works around barriers known and unknown. And so that's fantastic. There's just so many... testing that's being done that just shows that this is beautifully beneficial. And so why is this bill necessary? She says one simple word: access. According to Americans for Safe Access State of the State report for 2021, North Dakota has a D- rating. The rating for access to medicine is 10 out of 100. We can do better, she says. And I agree. So call your stinking legislator and let them know you are out there. Okay. And so, like I said, you can go to North Dakota Cannabis Caucus Facebook page, and they've got some letters of some negative input that they've got here that's kind of interesting. So you may want to check that out. You're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here, 420, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And that's what's happening now. We're back to North Dakota House approving the flag being made of hemp. That's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool. All right. So... the resolution is sponsored by 5 House members and 3 senators, cleared the full chamber in a voice vote. House Concurrent Resolution 3004 was, with all respect, run up the flagpole. Oh, that bill, he funny, isn't he? So the whereas section of the legislation, which now heads of the Senate, says that historians assert the first U.S. flags were made from hemp. And the crop is both stronger than cotton and fades less than other fabrics. Now, let's just sit there. The crop is both stronger than cotton, right? Well, why we got cotton? How come cotton is most prevalent? How come all our stupid shirts are cotton? hemp is stronger than cotton. If there wasn't some sort of political and financial juju that was happening back in the 30s when the competition and capitalism began and got its claws in, and they had to reduce the competitor so they could survive. Because why isn't a stronger crop? Why didn't that make it? Well, when you attach it to racism and, devil worship and turning into bats, well, it was kind of easy to just buy a cotton t-shirt. So anyway, I digress. North Dakota citizens should demonstrate their patriotism by supporting local businesses in our state which manufacture flags made out of durable materials such as hemp. I agree. The resolution wouldn't require flags to be made out of hemp, but if it's ultimately enacted, the legislature would be formally encouraged residents purchase flags produced from the cannabis crop. That is awesome. Now check this out. During its committee hearing last week, bill sponsor David Munson took a question about whether smell-related issues could arise with people burning hemp flags, and he assured the fellow lawmaker that it wouldn't be a problem. See, and I don't know, does that just scream ignorance? It kind of does, but I don't know. Ignorance just doesn't know. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you don't know nothing. Just kidding. All right, well, let's talk about some fun stuff quick. High times. Cannabis-funded rec center opens in Aurora, Colorado. The city of Aurora hosted a grand opening on Tuesday for its brand new 77,000 square foot, nearly $42 million recreational facility that was funded entirely by tax revenue generated from legal cannabis sales. That is awesome. Known as the Southeast Rec Center and Fieldhouse, the facility boasts a slew of amenities that only cannabis taxes can provide. So, there's another rec center which opened in 2019 and was also funded. So that is awesome. The city said that the rec center is located near several neighborhoods. Supporters of cannabis legalization have long contended that a regulated cannabis retail market could be an economic boon for state and local governments, and I absolutely agree with that. Now, here's a trippy story, people. All right, this is from High Times. This is pretty new. Catholic high school teacher busted for allegedly smoking cannabis with his students. Okay, here we go. Former Cathedral High School teacher faces 4 charges in Brown County District Court in Minnesota. So, Brady P., 32, a now former Catholic school teacher, is accused of allegedly burning the grass with several students, 3 of them juvies. So I'm assuming it's 118er and the rest are 17, So anyway, he taught music in New Ulm, Minnesota, just down the way. He's charged with 5th-degree felony possession of cannabis, 3 gross misdemeanors of contributing to the delinquency of a child. Now, I don't know which one's going to get dropped in the proceedings, but I guarantee you one of these will. I can assure you one of these will. The school responded promptly to the incident with a statement that he's no longer employed, of course. So here's the situation. The reports are that a student and 2 others picked up the teacher and parked under a bridge. I wonder if they listened under the bridge by the Peppers while they were sitting there. But anyway, they walked to a nearby sandbar. Weibel allegedly whipped out a blizzant and passed it to his students, which is crazy, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, all 3 students at that incident said they smoked cannabis. Well, how could you not? What? So a priest associated with the New Elm dropped the dime and called police on January 14th. He's probably projecting from his, his molesting that he does. The supervising priest called New Ulm police investigator. The 1 student was an adult, 3 others were minors. So several students, including an additional student, admitted they had smoked it on another occasion. He admitted that the adult student picked up a juvie student and drove to the teacher's house where they smoked cannabis out of a bong. A student said they hit the bong between 10 and 20 times. That seems like a lot of times. One of the students told them, always provided the cannabis free of charge. Well, bless his heart. It's a high school fantasy to be smoking in the boys' room, but a nightmare for the parents and teachers. Police executed a search warrant, and they found wax flower grinder and just like 3/4 of a gram. Now, he was posted bail at $10,000, so that's like $1,000 to get out. So, what exactly is he looking at in terms of punishments? I'm kind of curious myself. The penalty for contributing to the delinquency of a minor under Minnesota law is a gross misdemeanor and a max penalty in prison for a year and $3,000 fine. There ain't no way you're going to get that. Well, I'd be interested. So anyway, possession of under 42.5 grams is a misdemeanor, just a $200 fine over that amount, but under 10 grams could mean a felony charge. The schools did not immediately respond for comment. In October 2021, a South Carolina elementary school teacher faced criminal charges and lost her job after a pupil in her class pulled a package of cannabis edibles from a box of treats intended as prizes towards students. In 2020, the Board of County suspended a teacher in Bellevue, Florida, and student service manager over his use of medical cannabis. Well, there you have it. That's kind of a fun story. High times again. Nike challenges trademark hemp company slogan, just hemp it. I don't know. Nike recently filed a trademark complaint against the CBD company for attempting to trademark just hemp it. Nike is one of the largest footwear and athletic gears we know. There's a Texas-based CBD company called Revive Farming who filed to use the trademark. Well, they must have been allowed it. Just Do It, which has been in use in commerce for more than 30 years, registered for more than 25 years, stated to deny it. Nike argues that it owns multiple trademark registrations and that Revive should not be allowed to trademark just hemp it because it would lead to confusion and cause injury and damage to Nike. I don't know. But anyway, this isn't an uncommon trend, actually. In August 2017, the glue company known as Gorilla Glue took Gorilla Glue strains to court. The results meant the strains known as Gorilla Glue number 1, Gorilla Glue number 4 would be referred to as GG1 or GG4. February 2018, the Hershey Company began suing cannabis companies for the Girl Scout cookies, I'm sure. UPS targeted cannabis delivery services that were using its acronyms such as United Pot Smokers. UPS 420. Anyway, later in 2019, Sour Patch Kids, they targeted illegal cannabis products. Cinnabon took out a vape company. Boy, we're learning something today here at Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, 420, over the big fat bag cannabis. And we're having a good time, aren't we? I feel pretty good. I'm telling you, those cold showers, man, they're just like a punch of feel-good to the face. And apparently it lasts 2 to 3 hours, and it's similar to cocaine without the crash. The more you know. All right. What do we got here? We've got from Ganjapreneur. Study. Cannabis legalization does not lead to increased use of other drugs. Has not led to an increase in substance abuse. So, and it should not be considered a gateway drug, according to a study by the University of Colorado. Rec legalization was associated with increased cannabis use and decreased alcohol use, but was not associated with other maladaptations. And I suppose you're right. You should have seen a spike in all the other ones. So, rec cannabis has had limited effects on a wide range of adult psychiatric and psychosocial outcomes. We really didn't find any support for a lot of the harms people worry about with legalization. So, they did a 4,000 twin study to conduct a search. They found that twins who lived in states where cannabis is legal showed fewer symptoms of alcohol use disorder. Okay. So, we're going to keep moving because I realized I think I might have said that last time. So, let's see here. Cannabis moment. Cannabis legalization not associated with increased rates of psychosis. American Medical Association study of 63 million people finds. Okay? There is no statistically significant increase in psychosis. It's a new study by the AMA, American Medical Association, so you can take that to the bank. They carried out an analysis of more than 63 million health insurance beneficiaries from 2003 to 2017 to address the issue that cannabis reform could be linked to higher rates of psychosis. Study authors specifically look at commercial and advantage claims. The study is the first and largest to our knowledge to quantify the association of medical and rec policies with psychosis-related health care claims. So, that is good news, isn't it? So, what else we got here? All right, let's talk a little bit about Minnesota. I'm hoping to get maybe somebody on from Minnesota. I wouldn't mind talking to Jessica Hansen specifically, because I didn't realize there was like how rare it is to be consumer of cannabis and be in the legislative body. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, again, if you're listening, Jessica, call me. Minnesota Senate Committee held a first hearing on a bill to legalize cannabis on Wednesday as companion legislation continues to advance through the House. So, what does it say? It receives first committee hearing Senate. So, the chair of the committee said at the beginning of the hearing that he and the sponsor have agreed for the bill to return to the panel at a later date before it potentially moves to the floor. Its next step will be the Commerce and Consumer Protection. The House companion measure moved through its third committee, and it's scheduled to go before another panel on Thursday. There's still several more stops on its path to the floor of that body. The prohibition of cannabis is a failed system, said Port. Senator goes, we have an opportunity today to start the process to undo some of the harm. Let's see. There'll be a vetting of 18 committees, likely be amended and refined over the next month or so. The current legislation is an iteration of the 2021 brought by Majority Leader Ryan Winkler, which it's a good one. So if that one makes it through with a little bit of, something, we dig it. So anyway, you have heard a segment of Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I discussed cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis. We had a pretty good time. In recap, if you're in North Dakota and you're concerned about medical and what it provides, I think you need to start, and it might be too late. These bills might already be passed, but we need to be, we need to be bugging them, because the people we don't want to bug them are bugging them. And they're fabricating crazy statistics, and they're really making it seem crazy. All right. And so if there isn't a balance, then everybody just thinks a particular thing. So, again, thank you for joining Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I am going to play a song, but first, programming on KRFF, LPFM, Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 has been underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Lutherie. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, Paul Reed Smith guitars, and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment. They take trade-ins and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Lutherie on Facebook or visit them in person at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturdays 10 to 5, and close on the Lord's Day. Again, thank you for listening to me. I feel like I got her done today. So, shout out to me. This is Justice featuring Trombone Shorty. And that's how you do a song about justice featuring Trombone Shorty. That's Dumpsta Funk on KRFF 95.9. RadioFreeFargo.org, streaming everywhere on this blue and green marble you hail from. You can check out this show, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, or the next show, Stinky Arts Music Mart. I can assure you that's happening because it stinks in here. It stinking stinks. So stay tuned for that. Black Ring Ritual wraps up your Thursday. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, blackcottagealchemy.com, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, Body Butter, Colloidal Silver, 1600 mgs of CBD, going to take care of your body. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. Again, I believe God created cannabis to use as we see fit. I show him my props at Antioch, 11 a.m. Sunday mornings, because that's what I do, y'all. So again, educate yourself on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others on said benefits. I'm going to jump out of here. So be good to yourselves. I'll be back in next Thursday. Now, next Thursday will be the last show I do before I go eat guinea pig in Ecuador. I'll be gone a week, and I'll be back that Thursday, a week from then, to regale you all my, Raiders of the Lost Ark stories. But until then, stick around for Stinky Arts Music Mart. Right now, David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.